Okay. Because we don't mind if you're really tight. Hare Krishna. So I'll just need a Bhagavad Gita. That would really help.
It's just a common. It's just a common.
Okay, there's one in my room. A worn down one. I went through the Third World War. Hare Krishna, everyone. Jai.
Hare
Thank you.
Krishna Maharaj.
Jai. Is there any way I could just kind of like see everybody up there a little better? See if there's any way.
Are there some devotees who can sit on the chair?
Hare Krishna Maharaj, Dandavat Pranam. Jai Shri Prabhupada.
No, I'd like to see the, excuse me. I just really want to see these devotees here.
Oh, yes, yes, Maharaj.
We can see everybody in this room. Haribol, everyone. I'm in a place called Suriname where they have Harinam. Haribol.
Haribol.
People here they speak Dutch, the Dutch language. And I think this country got independence in 1975, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes.
75, a time before many of you were born. And it's a nice place. People are sweet. They're nice. I just had some fresh sugarcane juice. And this is going to just make you jealous and envious. That's all. Okay, for the devotees that I'm sitting with here, in our temple here in Paramaribo, which is the capital city of Suriname. I'm just scanning over and looking at Adikarta. I haven't seen him forever. He's from Ohio. Just to let you know, Vaishnavi is our host. She's from Florida. Dhanraj is from Toronto. Arjun Saka up here. He is in Alberta. Guy Gaur and Tribhuvaneshwari, they're from Toronto area. Gurudev is from Hawaii, or Guru Das is the actual name. Naman, who I'm going to see, he's in Amsterdam. So you can speak with these people here. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.
And we have Ritam Goswami, he's also in Amsterdam. You can speak your language. Nina, where are you from?
Toronto.
Toronto, yeah. Okay, Basanta is from Gainesville area, yeah. And Manasi Ganga also Toronto. We've got William. Which William are we talking about?
Maharaj, that's my father. I invited him to join us. He's Balaji.
Haribol, JLG.
He's in Balaji. He's in Pennsylvania.
Pennsylvania. I think I walked through your town. Nice to have you on board. And we've got, next to him is, I'm not sure, somebody with glasses. I don't see a name. But Anjali, we don't see her. Who's next? Who's in the car? Is that Arjun? Arjun, you're from Florida. Haribol, at least you were, still are. Ananta Sheesh, also Florida. So it gives you an idea of the perspective. Violetta, also from Amsterdam, the husband and wife team. I think you're married. I wasn't sure. I never asked you. Okay, well, here we are. Your family and a few more people might join up as well. Haripad, also you're from New Jersey. New Jersey. See, we're covering a lot of territory. Yeah, we've got all you up there and all your glory. We have actually conducted classes like this in the past. It just increases the number a bit. Let us just start with our pranam mantras together for Srila Prabhupada, the both of them. Then we'll go to the Panchatattva mantra. And then we'll go to the Maha mantra. All right, we'll do that as best we can together. 1, 2, 3, go. Nama Om
Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimati Bhaktivedanta Swami Namine Namaste Saraswati Gauravani
Advaita Shiva.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Hare Hare.
Jai, Hare Krishna, thank you very much. Our host is Vaishnavi. She's going to tell us what verse we're going to read. But first of all, we'll do our invocational mantra, which is found on page 1 of the introduction of Bhagavad Gita as it is. And with share screen, we've got it right up there so everybody can recite it. Just follow after me. Om Ajnana
ज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानञ्जनशलाकया
Shri Gurave Namaha.
Akshuram Yena Sri Gurave Namaha. Thank you. So Vaishnavi will let us know what page we're on, what chapter and what verse we're on in the Bhagavad Gita. We can tell you it's chapter 18. Look at how close we are getting to the end of this great text. And for those of you who are not part of this regular, let's say, Gita chat, you are, by the way, you are welcome every Thursday at this time. You're absolutely welcome. We're going to complete chapter 18 soon, and we're going to go right back to square one after we're finished. This is a weekly meeting that happens at this time, Thursdays, 5 o'clock Florida time, Toronto, New York time, and 7 o'clock our time here in Suriname. Here we go. I'm going to do the verse, then I'll do the translation. We have enough space for, I'm going to try for 4 people just to get us involved. 2 people over there, 2 people over here. Okay? Maschitat sarva durgani mad prasadat tirishyasi atha chitvam ahankaran na shrusyasi Vinamshasi. Translation. If you become conscious of me, you will pass over all of the obstacles of conditioned life by my grace. If, however, you do not work in such consciousness, but act through false ego, not hearing me, you will be lost. Okay, great. And in the purport, we'll line up our people here. Janakinath, would you do the honor of reading 2 or 3 sentences? Then we'll maybe you can also, Pavitra can read 2 or 3 sentences. Then in your domain, Vaishnavis, you can select 2 people right now.
Okay, Gurudas, can you read? And Ritam Goswami, please.
Okay, great. So go ahead. And when I say thank you very much, that means we go on to the next person. You read it nice and slow and clear.
The person in full Krishna consciousness is not unduly anxious about executing the duties of his existence. The foolish cannot understand this great freedom from all anxiety. For one who acts in Krishna consciousness, Lord Krishna becomes the most intimate friend.
Thank you very much.
He always looks after his friend's comfort, and he gives himself to his friend, who is so devotedly engaged working 24 hours a day to please the Lord. Therefore, no one should be carried away by the false ego of the bodily concept of life.
Thank you. Next person.
One should not falsely think himself independent of the laws of material nature or free to act. He is already under strict material laws, but as soon as he acts in Krishna consciousness, he is liberated, free from the material perplexities. One should note okay.
Okay, so it was coming into me. Next person, last person.
One should note very carefully that one who is not active in Krishna consciousness is losing himself in the material whirlpool, in the ocean of birth and death. No conditioned soul actually knows what is to be done and what is not to be done. But a person who acts in Krishna consciousness is free to act because everything is prompted by Krishna from within and confirmed by the spiritual master.
Thank you for all the great readings and also the great listenings. Okay, one more time on the verse, the shloka. Vaishnavi, just give it to us one more time, please. Can you read it, please?
If you become conscious of me, you will pass over all the obstacles of conditioned life by my grace. If, however, you do not work in such consciousness, but act through false ego, not hearing me, you will be lost.
Jai, okay, thank you very much. I think a key word here for me anyways, is being lost. There's nothing worse than being lost. Then you are a loser. You've lost a grip on your background, you're just not anchored, not able to focus. One character that I think we all fall in love with in the Mahabharata is Karna. Karna was the first child born of Kundi and fathered by Surya, the sun god. And he was always in a lost condition. He didn't know his whole life who his real parents were. And he felt a sense of rejection also by his brother Arjun, although he didn't know it was his brother. Can you imagine why would a mother and a father abandon their child? I always get the shivers when I see, in some public place, a picture of kids missing children. It just makes me shudder. It's just such the creepiest thing ever. How children can be missing for years on end. Sometimes they become discovered, I guess you could say. But being lost is just not a nice place to be. The only good thing about being lost is that if you work to get found, like I remember it was one song by Aretha Franklin, or maybe it was Carole King, Lost and Found. I could be found in the lost and found. Sorry to bring up pop culture in some of these presentations, but I can't help myself. To be lost, to have no identity. I feel very sorry for people who think they're a dog or a cat, or they're like a chihuahua or like a parrot. They actually believe that, and their friends and family members help them to reinforce those things. I think you know what we're talking about here. There's a whole culture out there. I don't even know the name of it, but I talk about being lost. Lost is when you don't know your home, you don't know your background, and so is it possible to then keep searching and go for some kind of exploration? It's not a bad thing to do. It doesn't matter even if you have very supportive parents and you know that the town where you came from, it was a nice town and everybody knew what everyone was doing. Everyone knew the mayor of the town. Everybody looks after their little property, their house, everyone looks out for each other. There's neighborhood watch going. Even if you come from that kind of a cushiony and protective background, still we are lost on another level. We are lost in terms of, well, before I was a byproduct of these parents, these very nice Mr. and Mrs. Patel or Mrs. and Miss John Smith. Well, you know, is there more to me? And indeed, we will find out and discover that I come from a background of incredible groundedness and a place of being very, very secure in my life. But somehow or other, I took a wrong turn and I got lost. This is what happened. Let's take an example from Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He went down the river, he was misdirected, and he ended up at Advaitacharya's house. So he got, he was a little bit lost. I'll tell you another funny story. I have to tell this, I hope Ambarish Prabhu doesn't mind this. Everybody knows Ambarish Prabhu? Okay, I didn't write about this in my book, The Saffron Path, but Ambarish is the great-grandson of Henry Ford. And he and his family, they owned a sort of a hunting lodge, let's say clearly hunting lodge, which was half a kilometer from where I grew up in Southern Ontario. And I found out more recently from my sister, this was that polder, they call it polder, which is a Dutch word. Polder. Did I say it right? Polder.
No polder.
Thank you. Haribo. The Dutch people here all around me. I feel lost. He told me once, Ambarish told me, yeah, I used to go to that hunting lodge, and me and my friend, we were in a little motorboat and we were stoned on marijuana. And there was a storm coming up and we were quite lost in the reeds and the cattails all over the place like that. And we didn't know which way to go, which direction, because the Thames River had met up with some creeks and all that. Didn't know which way to go. So then it was overcast, the wind was picking up, and then a duck kind of flew over there. Said, follow the duck. So they took their motorboat and they followed the duck, and it got them back to the hunting lodge. So there are situations we might feel lost. While we're talking about Detroit, Lekha Shravan, what's her name? Lekha Shravanti, a god sister of ours. She and Ambarish had put the down payment for the Fisher Mansion in Detroit. Okay, she came from a fairly well-to-do background, as did Ambarish, Alfred Brush Ford. And they both pitched in together to get the money to buy the mansion that Prabhupada wanted to be the ISKCON Detroit Center. So that they teamed up. Now, in the background, they were arch enemies. Those two families were arch enemies. The Ford family started the whole car assembly dynasty, right? And so many people came, they were happy, they were employed, they were able to look after their families. And then, but as often goes in the case of assembly lines and factories, the workers get abused, they're overworked, underpaid, that kind of thing. So therefore they have these lobbies. What's it called? There's a term. Help me there.
Unions.
Unions, yeah. They have unions. Everybody likes unions up to a point until they get on your nerves and the factory owner can't make any profit anymore. So I was trying to think of Lekeshwaran's dad's name. He was the union leader to fight against the overworked laborers in the assembly line. But somehow or other they had come together. Now, to purchase this building for Prabhupada's mission. Now, she wrote a book, and she wrote a book about her father. She was very respectful about her dad. She had a lot of love for him. And you know what they used to do? He used to take the family on a trail and then follow a path in a trail there's lots of bush, part of the Carolinian forest in Michigan, just like we have in Southern Ontario. And then you get, after a while, the wide trail becomes a narrow trail, then it becomes no trail, and you just get in there. So he had this little game, I guess it's a game. Okay, let's find our ways back. After, walking for some distance and getting lost, you find yourself back to the trail. And it was kind of like a psychological game, I guess you could say. And I have a similar story. When my dad passed away, he was a super dad. And I got the news when I was in Cleveland, Ohio, just finishing a class, and I got a call from Toronto from my friends that your father passed away. Okay, so I was struck pretty hard. Shortly after that, I had flown to British Columbia. And some of you who know me, I sleep only in moving cars. I don't sleep at night on a bed very often, not very sound. And I woke up in the night, maybe 1:30, and I was walking through like the mountains, the creeks a little bit, in the night, in the dark. And I was deliberately trying to get lost. And I was running that parallel with my thoughts. I'm a little lost because the person who was like a pillar, an anchor in my life is gone. So I was thinking about him. I was chanting Hare Krishna very deeply, more than normal. And I got myself lost, but I also got myself found at the same time. It took a little while to get myself unentangled. By the way, I just want to say dhotis are not the best clothes to wear in the bush because there are thorns and stuff like that. So I had to undo myself and try not to tear my material. But in the end, when I did get back to a decent path where there's a little light shining, I found that, okay, I went through a little grieving. I went through my little moments. And I was a little bit lost in my emotions. So finally I got out, and it was like a little bit of a game I played with myself. And all I can say is it worked. It just worked. So if you have a similar kind of experience, all I can say is get lost. Get lost and go for a psychological trip, play a little game, and then come out feeling strengthened and also with some meaning. I think it really helps. One of my disciples in LA, she asked me, I'm a little bit lost sometimes. And I said, well, why don't you go to a tree when no one's looking and just get very grounded by hugging the tree. Okay. And so she did that and said, it really, really works. So now when people come sometimes to sannyasis or gurus and they ask for solutions to certain problems, our natural answer is, well, why don't you chant Hare Krishna? So, well, I do chant Hare Krishna, Maharaj. Well, chant more deeply. Okay, Maharaj, I'll do that. But, okay, sometimes people also want, in addition to that, practical answers, solutions, So like I find one thing that if you're very troubled about something, I suggest sometimes to people that if it's during the course of the day, just get out the door, go on the veranda, look up in the big blue sky, and just stay there for a little bit. Just stare into it. And then let me know what comes of it. And usually they say, I felt very purified. I felt very clean. Or like sometimes we do feel kind of lost in our dirty thoughts, if I could use that term, lost in the well of Maya. And what does oftentimes help is take a shower. Take a nice cold shower. If you want a cold shower, come up to Canada. We have lots of them. Okay. And just go through that experience. It's very, very relieving. Krishna's giving you, a spiritual solution, chant Hare Krishna with all sincerity, but he's also, perhaps giving us through our intelligence advice from someone to do some practical things too that help you get grounded. Like going for a walk is a big deal. I mean, a lot of people don't want to do it. Oh, I'm too old. I'm too tired. There's too much traffic. It's too cold. And I just say, you're too cold. You're just too cold. You know, warm up to the cold, and cold will warm up to you. It's the psychological barriers that we have that make it very difficult for us to, you know, pull out of some syndrome, you know. And I think that these little things like going for a walk, putting your beads in your pocket, if it's wintertime, that your pocket is your bead bag. Just go for the freshness of the air. And you know, that air is Krishna, by the way. You'll start and go where there are some trees. Go for a forest bath. How do you like the music here? Same as everywhere else. Okay, so I would recommend those kind of. I should make a list, at least 10 things you can do that will get you grounded and find yourself again. Find yourself. In the 60s, a lot of kids were kind of lost because we, especially in North America, especially the Americans, they were very lost. They were encouraged, especially the boys, to go to war, and a war that nobody believed in. You know, so that created a lot of confusion. A lot of the radical thinkers went through that experience. I'm not sure that I believe in this world where you just work hard 9 to 5 and just go on a routine and you just live. You just work to live, but to die. Like these are classical questions that come to our mind. And so that whole generation, the counterculture, was just thinking, I'm lost and I'm going somewhere where I can be found. I'll go to San Francisco in the year 1967, the summer of love, and I'll find myself. Or I'll go to India and I'll find myself. You want to find yourself, go to India. That's what some people say. And when you go to India, you will get lost. You will get lost in the crowds and lose your bearings. Lose your bearings. But you know, you're forced then to find yourself, to get back onto a track where you belong. And so these are just some opening remarks I wanted to say about in regards to the term being lost. So when we use the term in a kind of a boisterous, vindictive way, we say, get lost. It means someone's pestering you. And maybe the person who is pestering needs to have a little bit of a reality check. Maybe they need to go out there and go for a little find yourself routine. It's not a bad thing to do. And back in the 60s, those who were searching, looking for answers, solutions to classical questions, some of them found Prabhupada, and they found his devotees, and it registered and resonated with them. Yes, I like this. I like what you say philosophically. I love this food. I love seeing, you know, something you put flatbread, you put it on the fire and go like this, and you turn it around, and then it's the other way. It bloats up, and we only lived on Wonder Bread, which is like foamy white nonsense. You've got to be kidding kind of bread. And the whole magic of Krishna consciousness became a beautiful experience, 10 times that of going through Disney World for a kid. And he said, this is it for me. I have reached the end of the road. I was once lost, but now I'm found. Like the song, Amazing Grace, that song. Amazing Grace, how sweet the sound, something like that. And I once was a wretch, but now I'm found, lost, but now I'm found, blah, blah, blah. Beautiful lyrics, you know, amazing grace. You can look it up. So that grace, Prabhupada uses the word here, I believe, by the grace of Krishna, by the grace of Guru, we can be found. Yeah, by my grace. Mad Sadat. But we should always remember, Prasadam, the origin of Prasadam is mercy. That's what it is. And today we met a fellow, he's a famous singer, who's with me? You were. Who's that guy? Chris Ram Kilavan. And he's a famous singer, ghazal, love songs.
Folk singer.
Folk singer, okay. And I happen to have my last copy of the Saffron Pad. And, you know, we saw him and we called him over because he's known all over the country. And I gave him the book. Oh, this is not a gift. I said, this is my gift to you, my last book. And he said, no, it's not a gift. This is prasad. So prasad means mercy. Let's not forget that. Next time when you take prasadam, if you're going to go eat something after this talk, remember, it's not food. It's something you honor. It's not something you eat. It is Krishna incarnate as food. So it's very special. That's what is prasadam. Prasadam is mercy. Hare Krishna. I've said enough. I feel lost now. And we've got a bright bunch of people here on two sides. I'm right in the middle of you all. So is there anybody who would like to raise their hand either here in Suriname or in North America? Now I'm really lost. We've got a hand up. Haripad, go ahead. The savior of the world.
Hare Krishna Maharaj, this verse that you read, it rhymes very much because I am actually in mourning. Actually, my whole family is in mourning. And may I request all of everybody to just, whenever they get a chance, to say a little prayer for my brother's family in Singapore, because they lost a 19-and-a-half-year-old boy, a nephew, in a very tragic way. My brother is, of course, very close to me, and he has showered his son with utmost love and affection from him and his wife, which is my sister-in-law. So they lost this boy, just 19-and-a-half years old, and I really, truly value and cherish your prayers. They were not so connected to the Hare Krishna movement, which I strongly believe, had they been, this tragedy would never have occurred. And when you said lost a boy, I think it's like this verse is touching me. So may I kindly request all of you to please, whenever you get a chance, say a little prayer for Haripad Das's brother in Singapore. And that's all, Maharaj. Yeah, and it's a very important verse. And I met that boy. He's very, very young, and it's a very tragic situation. And I have since connected him to Devaki Nandan Prabhu, who is a very senior disciple of grand disciple, and connected to our Prabhupada family. So I have sent him the contact information, and hopefully, they begin to connect. That's all, Maharaj. Thank you very much. Thank you, devotees. Hare Krishna.
It did make me aware of the loss of the family, and we have strong feelings about that. You know, at that age in particular, our condolences to you.
Thank you.
I think what we can all do is just chant the Maha Mantra 3 times.
Yes.
On his behalf, we can do that right now. Why not? This is a class for feelings, not just for thoughts, but also for feelings. So let's do that right now. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare.
Thank you very much for letting us know. And it was like
Thank you
this.
for your prayers, Mother.
Yes, no problem. Thank you, Haripad, for letting us know. And this definitely gets us all a little bit more grounded, right? A little less lost, in a sense.
Yes, Mother.
Good. Thank you for. I was just 2 nights ago. I had another class like this, and actually it was Tuesday night. Yeah, it was 2 nights ago, and there was also like 2 people on the call. So it's quite a large group like this. Same thing. We went through that a few moments of honoring, for two women in this case that passed away, members of the assembly here. So yeah, it's okay. We're open, very open for sharing our best wishes and for a safe journey back for what was the child's name?
Madhav.
Mother.
Madhav, yes.
Thank you, Bert. All right, we'll go back to our situation where we are. Anybody who would like to respond to some of the items that were mentioned, like in the verse, Krishna speaking, Prabhupada speaking. Of course, we shared a little bit of our own experiences about getting found after being lost. Yeah. Anybody at all? Yes, the Janakinant Prabhu. I'm going to give the microphone over to you.
Hare Krishna. Yeah, it's a little, when we read the verse and then it ends with, you will be lost. It sounds so definitely. Well, and my understanding is always, there's always a second chance and third chance, and there's always coming back out of being lost in one way or another. That is grace and the mercy of the devotee. When somebody just sees a devotee or he gets on the side. So here it sounds so definitely so, you will be lost. But then I think, second hand, there is always a chance, right? And you can elaborate a little bit.
Yeah, I will just say something briefly. I think that hope is like one of those virtues that keeps people going, and definitely there's a beautiful policy that Krishna's put in place is that if we miss out in one life, we get a chance to make the grade again. Again, we're given another opportunity, but that soul takes an opportunity to be born again. And so that feature of hope, we don't use that word very often, but I think it's a very big deal in our culture, in our lifestyle, on the more subtle level. Yeah. So there's always hope for the world. I mean, look what's going on. We don't have anybody on the call here from Los Angeles or California. It's terrible. It's terrible what's going on. All the protests are going on, the war, the pro-Palestinian stuff, whatever it is. It's just so much madness, and people break and enter, and more like stealing cars, more than ever before. There's but there's still hope. We have to keep that in mind. Okay, Arjun, you've got your golden hand up. Tell us what's on your mind.
Hare Krishna, all the devotees. I wanted to say, without Krishna, obviously we all been lost. It's such a wonderful opportunity that we have that we can finally get to be connected with Krishna. Because without Krishna, I feel like this world is already tough enough. It's so miserable. It's so many traumas, so many things happening. It's so crazy. It's like as soon as you turn the news, not that I watch it all the time, but it's always something crazy going on. And not only that, too many animals dying, people dying. too many things. It's just miserable. It's a miserable condition of life. Like, why would we like to be here? It's very crazy. So I like to say that I'm very thankful and appreciate that, have you all in my life. Thank you.
Thank you, Arjun, for those comments. And do we have someone else? Anjali, we saw your hand up there.
Prabhuji, this is Murli Prabhu. I know I have to change my name to Murli Prabhu. Dandavad Pranam Prabhuji. The biggest experience for me is the maze of Maya is so strong that Prabhupada has given me the opportunity to associate with the devotees. So when I get lost, my greatest achievement is every Sunday going to the temple and getting reunited with the devotees. So that ignites me and keeps my fuel, charged for the next 5 days. So I just wait for that opportunity to associate with the devotees at the temple.
Thank you so much, Murli. That's a very nice thing that you brought up in terms of hope. Our real connection is with our spiritual family. We may have a biological family. Some of us may have had good experiences there. Some of us may have had very bad experiences, really. But when you come to the spiritual abode, it gives us some kind of hope. We feel safe. We feel protected. Yeah. And, frankly, I sometimes look at, when I joined the movement, some of the people that were there at the time, they're like real characters. And I think I feel like a little bit out of place. But there was enough going on, enough stability was there, enough sanity that I felt this is my home. Because in every household, you're going to have some idiosyncrasies, you can have some oddities, So, but there's at least the nest is there. The nest is there and you feel protected in the nest somehow. Thank you, Srila Prabhupada. He made the nest and he's keeping the nest well fortified. Anybody else have any comments they'd like to make? Oh, we have got Guru Das, go ahead.
Hare Krishna Maharaj, I was just reflecting on this verse on the importance of Krishna's grace, because material nature, and Prabhupada talks about it in the purport too, about how material nature is so strong that we need Krishna's grace to overcome it. Independently, we can't free ourselves.
Very good. So there's a need for dependency, right?
Yeah.
But one beautiful thing is like when you bring Krishna into your life, of course, he's bringing us into his life. He was already there. And it's just like you'll never feel lonely because he's with you already. He's there. Yeah.
Right.
Why yogis were able to go and meditate on the Paramatma in the jungle where lions lurk and serpents, all these poisonous creatures. Why they would sit there fearless because they believed in God in the heart, Paramatma. They didn't feel they were all by themselves. Good. Anybody else like to share something?
Arjun Saka.
Arjun Saka, okay, and then we have you in the background. Yes. Okay, we'll start with Arjun Saka, go ahead.
Hare Krishna Maharaj. Maharaj, it's more like experience I had last year in Vrindavan. I got lost in the middle of night when I was returning to my hotel, and I was not having any money with me, and my phone also died, and I was just totally lost. And then nothing, I didn't find any devotee doing any parikrama, nowhere, no one, and just one cow. And then I thought it's Krishna's mercy. I should follow that cow and will end up in somewhere near Yamuna or somewhere. I don't want to get lost in this narrow streets in Vrindavan. So I followed it and get out to the Keshi Ghat and then went to my hotel. And even next morning, eventually I was doing shopping in the market and I got lost in the market. and I end up going to the Radha Govindaji's temple. So I find like getting lost in somewhere, it's you gain something out of it.
If there's something about getting lost, means you're put into adventure. You know, an adventure can be a lot of fun. It can be an incredible growing period for a person. So thank you so much for sharing that. And Shantipriya, did you want to say something? Can everyone hear his question? Or can you come closer? You're a big boy, you have long legs. 2 strides in your head.
Closer. Yeah.
So, Maharaj,
They want to see you.
Really want to see you. See you, Lord.
yes, Hare Krishna, everyone. So, Maharaj, I have a question, and it's mostly circulating around the word loss. And before I ask the question, it's like one time a devotee asked Srila Prabhupada that Srila Prabhupada, why is it that we are in Krishna consciousness and sometimes we fall into Maya? And Srila Prabhupada said, no, we're always in Maya and sometimes fall into Krishna consciousness. So when we are as devotees, it's very easy for us to we can become very lazy and we think that you're already saved. And that is actually the worst thing for a devotee, to think that you don't have to do anything, you've already chanted so much, you have done so much service, etc. And that is actually also considered being lost from my perspective. How can we, as individuals, as devotees, practicing devotees, recognize this terrible situation? Because usually when you're in that situation, it's hard to realize that, hey, we have to do something about it, otherwise it will become a bigger and a bigger and a bigger problem.
Mhm.
That's the question. Thank you.
Yeah, you have to address these problems timely. Just like say, if you've got a leak in the roof, you know, and you could put a bucket at the bottom on the floor so that when the rain comes in, it drops, you know, or in the case of melting snow, all that. But you know, you realize that if I don't address this soon, that $10,000 problem will become a $20,000 problem if you don't get it at the right time. So how do you fix these problems of, you know, getting I think you mean the term complacent. Complacent, being kind of like lazy with your Krishna consciousness. Well, I think the answer is you can never be lazy when you have people around you that motivate you. Hey, let's do this. Like when kids, why don't we do this? Why don't we plant the tree? Why don't we play with the ball? Blah, blah, blah. You know, why don't we make an igloo, a snowman, blah, blah, blah. All these kind of things, you know, when you're there with people who motivate you, it's a very different situation than to be alone. I think loneliness and being lost are very much connected, you know? And so we won't get complacent if we're around people that are motivating, you know? And I think that's the Sangha. There's always the answer to any spiritual problem. Get the right Sangha and you'll be okay. But when you started off speaking there, Shantipriya, you said lust and you said lost.
No, I mean lost. Lost.
It doesn't matter, they're the same.
Yes.
You know, lust and lost. You know, definitely when you're caught up in lust, there's a blindedness there. You're blind and you are lost. You know? So how do you get found? Well, talk to some of the other people around you that might think otherwise. You know, I've noticed, Prabhu, I noticed you're hanging around with such and such. I don't think it's a good match, to be honest with you. Like when your real true-hearted friends will tell you something like that. When they're frank with you, they'll say, I don't think it's going to work. You can check it out with other people, but from my perspective, it's not. So that advice that comes to devotees, it's just critical. It's a treasure for us to get good counseling, to get good advice, you know. Don't think you could do it on your own. That's the biggest mistake. Then if you do things on your own alone, expect to be lost. That's all I can say. Expect to be lost. You're just asking for it. Some of you deserve to be told, get lost. All right, do we have any Sandamani? Yes, please. The wife Haribad was the nephew. Yes, the Sandamani, please tell on your
Hare Krishna Maharaj, Dandavat Pranams, all glories to Srila Prabhupada, all glories to your lotus feet. Maharaj, I just have a question. As devotees, how can we be, sometimes it's hard to be kind to people, in the sense like when we have to lay down the rules and, but then it's hard sometimes to be kind, and that's just me, probably I'm finding it. For with some people, how can we as devotees, Maharaj, be kind and compassionate and, develop that mood,
Well, I think we have to be very convinced that through kindness and even-mindedness, things get done. Information gets transmitted. If there's ego in the atmosphere, then there's like a blockage of the flow of wisdom and realizations. It gets halted. And what you want really is for the dam to be broken. And that comes through with convincing yourself, I've got to be in the sattvic atmosphere. I have to act sattvic. I have to be kind. And then people will be open to speak to you, pour their hearts out. And I think that's the only solution. Be sattvic, act in goodness, and then everything will, wisdom will flow. And where there's wisdom, there's answers and solutions. So to gain this kind of compassion and kindness, we can get in a prayerful mood and ask Krishna, please help me to be a kinder individual. And so that I can be a greater assistant in your service. I can help your fellow human beings. Yes. Does that help? Thank you. Thank you. Someone else? We've got, Sanjay, who's visiting us from Guyana. Sanjay, can you come close?
Hare Krishna. So I just want to share this realization with the devotees. Since we are speaking about getting lost or being lost, I just want to say when we get lost, it's very important that we have a compass. And this compass is Krishna consciousness. So when we have the direction of that compass, it's a whole beautiful experience and a whole beautiful adventure. There is where we're going to be found ourselves. Hare Krishna.
Right. Looks to me like you've put that into practice and you're telling us about your own personal experience. Thank you. This is a little sharing period that we have. That's why we get together. Do we have anyone else who would like to contribute something, either with a question or also with some endorsement? I like what you said when we wrote this and that, or I didn't like what you said. I'm not really trying to understand. And I don't agree with you. We'll meet you in the back alley, something like that. Okay. Anybody else? There's a hand up. Oh yes. Violetta or Naman, right?
Yeah, Hare Krishna Maharaj. So I had a comment on your comment that it's easy to get lost without the company of sadhu sangha. And only yesterday we were doing the Srimad Bhagavatam reading about the story of Bharat Maharaj, and he got lost in this way where he was looking for liberation or to attain the Supreme Lord by himself, and he did not take to the company of sadhus, and he went by himself and he got lost as a result of it, even though he made some advancement. But on the other hand, there's the contrasting story of Rantidev, who also tried to help others, but he never got lost in the process because he always had sadhu sangha. So yeah, thank you for reminding us that sadhu sangha is always very important if we want to maintain ourselves on the spiritual path.
Good. You've got some people clapping for you there, Babu. Sorry, I like what you said. Yes, thank you, yourself and also Sanjay for sharing your experience. That's really good. You also have Haribad, you're there with us again. Oh, you're clapping your hands.
Yeah,
Two
Maharaj.
hands instead of one. That's even better. Anybody else here from this end here? Okay.
You said next time you want to become the servant of Prabhupada.
Oh, Gauranga's getting personal with me. He said, he asked me, what about your future, Maharaj? You asked me, right? Well, we were walking by the canals, and I said, my future, I hope I can be a devotee in this Hare Krishna movement, serve Prabhupada, and because I'm having a whale of a time. I mean, I'm having a blast. It's a good time. I like it. I like it. I can't think. I look around me. I look around in the world. I think it's very good for devotees to make contact with the outside world and not to be too cloistered. But I find that there's a lot of unhappy and confused people. And compared to what they're going through, says, thank you, Prabhupada. Oh my God, thank you. Thank you for saving me. Yeah, keep saving me. We've got the rhythm. He's got his hand up once again.
Hare Krishna Maharaj. I was just thinking about when you mentioned about the walking part and how you sometimes discover yourself. I realized that sometimes when we are physically lost, let's say we are just walking in some direction and we don't know where we are going physically. When you are out for a walk without any sense of direction, you're just walking, and then actually you get a lot of clarity, which helps you to be to find yourself mentally. And of course, here in Netherlands, when you go for such kind of a walk, you ultimately come back, right? Because I've seen like all roads kind of connect you back to where you started from in some way, but in India it might be different. But yeah, I mean, it's something that I could think about, that lose yourself physically to kind of gain yourself spiritually in those walks. It really helps.
Like walks are big, and Prabhupada was big for walking every day. And that philosopher Nietzsche, he said, the best ideas come from when you're walking. There's something about walking and chanting while you're walking, where the best comes out of you. There's some like oxygen seems to go to the brain, and everything, the whole machinery tends to operate nicely. That's why I'm such a strong advocate of walking, and I like to encourage other people to do the same, because you're actually a little more objective in your thinking. And I think a lot of people, they're in the cars all the time, and they got the radio on, and the radio is controlling their lives, pumping them up with false hopes. So, and crazy commercial songs, that doesn't happen when you're walking on your own pace. Walking with God, when we walk with Krishna. He's with us, right? It's not that you're alone. It's not you're alone. So, yeah, you were talking about clarity. A lot of things get cleared up through having a little downtime. I recommend don't downtime it too much, because you'll start to overthink, and that's when the devil will come in. So, thank you very much for all your remarks. I would just like to say now what we can do. The Vaishnavi, is it realistic to go through maybe we can ask 10 people to give a one word, this is the challenge, one word takeaway based on what we just said. Well, let's stretch it to 2 words. Is that okay?
Okay.
3 or 4 or 5 or 6. Okay, start.
Krishna compass.
Krishna compass.
Gurudas.
Krishna's grace.
Krishna's grace.
Arjuna,
Prabhupada is safe.
Arjun Sangha,
Prabhupada Savior. Prabhupada Savior. Jai Ho.
I need time. I'll
okay. Mansi Mansi Murali,
Maharaj's lotus feet.
Krishna Maharaj.
There's 3 words there.
Is trust Krishna.
Trust Krishna. Yes, very good.
Meena,
Yeah, I said like finding yourself.
Find yourself. Okay.
Purnachand,
Well,
Sandamini,
Krishna's mercy.
Yes.
Krishna's mercy. Thank you.
Sandamini,
Christmas.
Hare Krishna. Hello, Mataji, can you hear me?
yes. Yes, we can hear you.
Guru Kripa.
Guru Kripa. Okay. Guru's.
Saurabh, would you like to say this is your first time you are here?
Hare Krishna. I would say Krishna's mercy.
Oh, nice. Thank you.
Great. I seem to like that one. Okay, need people from Suriname to speak up as well. Oh, we get Arjun Saka. Go ahead.
Sadhu Sangha.
Sadhu Sangha. Okay. Great. Now, tell us something. Prabhupada's mercy. Your
Nice.
name? Ashwin. Ashwin said Prabhupada's mercy. I agree with it. Honor Prasad. Honor Prasadam from Sanjay. There's mosquitoes here. You should clap. Okay. Anybody else? Yeah. No downtime. No downtime. Okay. No downtime. Okay, that could be argued, but yeah. Okay. Who else? Mark had one. What is it? Krishna's guarantee. Okay. There's a lot of Krishna content going on here. Someone else? Never lost. Never lost. I like that. Yeah, that's the dreamiest title so far. Never lost. I can go and see the movie with that title. I'd read the book. Never lost. Anybody else? Prabhuji? Love Krishna. Love Krishna. Okay. That's not too cliche. Who else? Prema Bhakti. Prema Bhakti. Love. Okay. Anything else? Adventure. Yeah, that's right. Krishna consciousness is an adventure that a lot of people don't follow through on that path. So you're unique when you're following the Krishna adventure. Keep searching. The Arjun Saka says, keep searching. Okay. Okay, I guess that's about it then. We will end it there. We had 1 hour of fun, at least in my opinion. It was great. And next week should be also not a problem. I'm not sure where I'm going to be then. What is next week? Thursday. I'll be on that day. I'm flying in on the 15th, right? There might be an issue, but anyways, get on board and we'll get lost and found. All right. Let's put our palms together, and again, respects to Madhav Prabhu for the lost his life, and I'm sure everything will be okay. And just move ahead. We learn from mistakes, but somehow or there's a slip up somewhere, it's a little hard to sort out in our minds, these things,
Yes,
but
Maharaj.
they have happened, and you just have to go on knowing you have dharma, you have your duty, your responsibilities to fulfill.
Yes,
All right, let's offer our respectful obeisance to all the Vaishnava devotees of the Lord. Lanja Kalpatarubhyascha, Vipasika, Patita Mamba, and the operation. Okay.
Thank you, Maharaj. Thank you,
Thank you. Thank you.
Hare Krishna.
Hare
Thank you,
Krishna.
Maharaj.
Hare
Hare
Krishna. Hare
Krishna.
Krishna.
Very
Hare
nice.
Krishna.
Jai.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, everybody.
Hare